enter a plea of guilty or nolo. You may wish to enter a plea of not guilty, and while you prepare for trial, you can also...
In today's episode, we dive into the wild courtroom antics of a sovereign citizen who shows up with a self-proclaimed attorney, and not just any attorney, but one oddly packing both a gun and a sword. With not one, but two chaotic court appearances lined up, things quickly spiral into complete mayhem. Let's unpack the madness and see exactly what went down.
We were representing him, but we are going to be submitting a withdrawal to you. You should have it shortly.
All right, Mr. Brown, are you represented by somebody else?
Yeah. For the record, I am DeMarcus Bay, the implied surety for DeMarcus Contrell Brown. And I would like to file a motion in the court for additional 30 days for me to seek counsel.
Okay, so Mr. Bay,
Yes.
aka Marcus Contrell Brown, so you're seeking a continuance to get new counsel?
Yes.
Okay, do you have someone in mind, sir?
I'm calling total nonsense on this because, as you're about to see, he's already hired an attorney. And not just any attorney. This guy looks like he wandered in straight from a glue-sniffing reunion. From the moment he steps into the courtroom, it's impossible to take him seriously. Every move he makes only adds to the chaos, making the situation even more ridiculous than it already is. Watching this unfold is equal parts shocking and absurd, and it's clear that nothing about this case will go as expected. By the end, you'll be wondering how anyone thought this was a good idea.
Sorry, until January 5th, but by that time, you need to have counsel on board when they come back so that they can talk to the state to determine if there's anything they can work out on your case, or if they need to get all of the information necessary for a trial, if that's what you choose to do. So by January 5th, I will expect that you will have counsel.
Well, I have paperwork on the docket that haven't been rebutted. I have affidavits of truth that haven't been rebutted.
Okay, sir, we don't do affidavits. People have to appear in person because there's a confrontation clause in the United States Constitution that says witnesses, you have the right to confront witnesses in person. So we don't do affidavits, okay? If you have witnesses that are going to present testimony or evidence on your behalf, then you have to have them come to court, be sworn in, and testify at that time, okay? So we're not doing any dismissing and all of that stuff. No, sir. When you get your counsel, they'll be able to discuss it with the state, and then y'all can present whatever to the...
The accusing deputy is only required to be present in court if one of the parties officially subpoenas them, so they don't automatically show up for the trial. This means you can't assume the deputy will be there unless you take action. If you plan to call a witness during your case, it becomes your responsibility to make sure that witness actually appears in court. Failing to do so could seriously hurt your position or cause unnecessary delays. It's not enough to just plan to have someone testify. You need to ensure they are properly notified and prepared. Ultimately, the success of your case can hinge on making sure every witness shows up when they're supposed to.
You can't rely on them to bring the person that you want. So if you want to subpoena someone to appear for trial, then you need to subpoena them. You cannot rely on the state to bring your witness. Okay.
Okay. I got you. So,
all right. Anything else?
And jurisdiction can't be challenged at any time, right?
No, sir. Jurisdiction rests with this court because this is where the locus of the incident is.
Well,
Mr. Bay, let me just explain something to you. Mr. Bay, listen to me.
Okay.
I went to school for 3 years for this. That's full time. If I had gone part time, it would have been 4 or 5 years. And I have been working since, oh Lord, I ain't gonna give my age, but I've been a lawyer and a judge for quite some time. I've been a judge for 10 years as of this year. A lot of times people come before me because they've learned stuff from other people, or they've gone online, or they've read it themselves. But I tell you, it doesn't work the way you think it works. And so there's a set of statutes, cases, procedures, all of those things that we have to learn. In fact, let me show you something.
Well, how do you have...
Oh, and now she's pulled out a book, and you could already tell this is about to get interesting. The sovereign citizen has no idea what's coming, and every turn of the page seems to confuse him even more. You can see it in his expression. He's trying to follow along, but the rules, the references, and the legal jargon are completely over his head. It's almost painful to watch, but at the same time, you can't look away. With every moment, the situation becomes more chaotic for him, while she calmly takes control of the courtroom. By the end of this, it's clear who's really running the show.
This is just this year's edition. And I got a book like this that includes evidence and procedure. I got a whole wall of books. So when you come in here challenging jurisdiction and all of this stuff people have taught you, it's not
books. Can I show you my Black Law Dictionary?
No, sir. Because Black's Law, that's a dictionary. That's not the full case. You know, you come in with all of these ideas about how you think the law works, but every lawyer in here has done at least 3 years of law school and trainings, trials, all of those things. So you're not going to change the way we do things. So the best thing to do is to get an attorney who can talk to the state about your case, and then we can get this resolved. Your case is pretty simple.
It never ceases to amaze me how sovereign citizens manage to rack up thousands of dollars in fines, spend time behind bars, and waste countless hours that could have been spent working or living their lives, all over fighting a system that costs barely $150 a year to comply with. They dig themselves deeper and deeper, stubbornly resisting something that's relatively simple to handle, and in the process, create chaos for themselves. And yet, somehow, no one ever seems to accuse these individuals of having much common sense. Watching it unfold is both frustrating and fascinating, a stark reminder of how pride and misinformation can lead people to make the most unnecessarily costly decisions imaginable.
I'm not proving anything on the record, sir. I wear the robe. They put me in this position. I've been here 10 years. If I didn't have subject matter jurisdiction, I wouldn't be here.
So you say it's not a difference between public and private for the record. There's no difference.
Sir,
get an attorney. Okay, all right. January 5th.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Bay/Brown, you've indicated that you wish to have an attorney, so I'm going to rely on the fact that you're going to have an attorney. Don't come back here with the same stuff, and I already told you it's not going to work.
So you're telling me United States codes don't work?
No, I'm telling you, you don't know them.
Got him.
So first of all, right here. The United States codes don't work in Georgia because Georgia has its own code, OCGA.
So the meaning of driver is different in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
But according to 49,
Mr. Bay, I'm not doing this with you. Get an attorney.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You're free to go. We'll see you on January 5th at 11 a.m.
All right, so that's the end of his first appearance. Now let's get to the spicy bits, where he brings on his attorney, who also happens to be an attorney general. And oh yeah, his lawyer also thought it was a good idea to bring a gun and sword into the Zoom court hearing. Let's call this segment How a Not Attorney Fucked His Not Client's Case Up.
So, DeMarcus Contrell Brown.
I have interest in that matter. Is the defendant ever free to go?
If the who, what?
Is the defendant in error free?
Well, let the record show that the defense was explicitly ordered to stay and participate in the proceedings. And while we're at it, let the record also show that the defendant is definitely not the brightest LED on humanity's light strip. Every attempt he makes to navigate the courtroom just highlights how out of his depth he really is. It's equal parts frustrating and entertaining to watch, because no matter how obvious the instructions are, he somehow manages to completely miss them. The whole scene is a masterclass in chaos, with him stumbling from one mistake to the next. By the end, it's painfully clear who's actually running the courtroom.
The all cap name is trust that I am a beneficiary of. My name is not spelled in all capital letters. I have a court order decree saying that.
Okay, Mr. Bay. Mr. Bay, do you have an attorney representing you, sir?
Attorney General, my Attorney General is online. You may speak to me, sir.
Is the Attorney General, Mr. Bay, hold on. Let me ask my question before you tell me something crazy. Is the Attorney General a member of the State Bar of Georgia?
I'm a non-state actor. I'm a foreign national. Matter of fact, Judge, I filed a
Sir,
notice of
Mr.
acceptance of
Bay.
your oath of office.
Mr. Bay, I don't care if you were Alexander Putin, the premier of Russia. If you are in Georgia and you're represented by an attorney, that attorney would have to be a member of the State Bar of Georgia. Foreign national or not. Just as if you went to another country and you had an attorney represent you, that attorney would have to meet the requirements of that country and of that state. Okay, Mr.
Yeah, no.
Attorney, Mr. Bay, hush. Mr. Attorney General.
I'm trying to set a record.
Mr. Bay, Mr. Attorney General, are you a member of the State Bar of Georgia? You want to unmute for me?
Speak, bro.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that letting Dog the Bounty Hunter and Captain Jack Sparrow's illegitimate kid speak for you is exactly the best legal strategy. Honestly, it's a recipe for chaos from the start. But since you've already gone ahead and opened your mouth anyway, there's really no turning back. At this point, your situation probably can't get much worse than it already is, and watching it all unfold is equal parts ridiculous and fascinating. Every word he says seems to dig the hole a little deeper, while everyone else in the courtroom just sits and watches the train wreck in disbelief. By the end, it's clear that some strategies are better left untried.
Basically doing business in Georgia. So
Okay, sir,
basically,
that's not what I asked you. No, sir.
I get what you're saying,
No, sir.
man.
No, and I get what you're saying, but we're not doing
I
that
know,
because that's not how we operate. Those are not the laws under which I am required to conduct court. So we either gonna do it my way or we're gonna put you
We
on
understand
the
the rules of the
calendar.
court. We understand the rules of the court. I got you.
Okay, are you a member of the State Bar of Georgia?
No, I'm not a member of the bar of Georgia.
Okay,
What I'm
then
trying to
no, then
realize
as
he's doing business a certain way
he
in
can
Georgia, and
represent
that you
himself.
need to take consideration on that matter on how he's doing business in Georgia.
He can represent himself, or he can be represented by a member of the State Bar of Georgia. But he cannot have you represent him or purport to represent him. Okay? That's not going to work. All right. So, Mr. Bay, do you wish to choose someone who is a member of the State Bar of Georgia to represent you, or do you wish to represent yourself?
I invoke my right to remain silent as the beneficiary of Demarcus Cottrell Brown estate.
Okay, sir. So, sir, you're invoking your right to remain silent, which means that you do not wish to enter a plea that
I plead to be released.
that would resolve your case today. As such, the court is going to enter a plea of not guilty for you.
Well, I guess your other option would be to let her enter a guilty plea on your behalf. But don't forget that the burden of proof always rests with the state. In every criminal case, the starting point is not guilty, and that remains the default until the defendant says otherwise or the prosecution manages to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a fundamental principle of the justice system, yet many people seem to forget it when they're trying to cut corners or rely on someone else to make decisions for them. Understanding this can make the difference between being steamrolled by the process and actually having a chance to defend yourself. At the end of the day, the law expects the state to earn its case, not for the defendant to surrender automatically.
On USC 454, judge practicing law from the bench.
And put you on a trial court, on a trial calendar so that your case may be heard at trial.
Object.
All right, sir. Thank you. You'll get notice in the mail. If anything changes about your if anything changes about your address, then you can go ahead and let us know by coming in.
I demand evidence hearing.
You will have that at the time of the trial,
evidence hearing.
You're not going to have an evidence hearing today because that's not what we're here for. This is
you are dishonorable. I got your oath, Tammy Long. Hey.
So, Mr. Bay, I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You'll have a trial at which time you can have an evidence hearing. You'll get notice in the mail.
You're in violation of Article 6, Section 2 of the Constitution.
Your notice in the mail, then you can appear for hearing with whatever evidence that you wish to present. Although you are not required to present any evidence or testimony because the state has the burden of proving the case against you. Thank you, Ms.
Something tells me she doesn't give 2 cents about your objection, mostly because, well, you're clearly out of your depth. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's video. I'll be keeping tabs on his upcoming court dates, and as soon as there's any update, you'll be the first to know. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If not, hit dislike. But make sure you leave a comment and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss any of my content. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next in this courtroom chaos.